Hey, this is Evan Longoria of your San Francisco Giants, and you're listening to Torture Cast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the three-time world champion, San Francisco Giants. With hosts Chad King and Eric Nathanson. This is Torture Cast.
It's Thursday, June 2nd, 2022, and this is episode 254 of the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the suddenly mediocre San Francisco Giants. That's okay. I think we need to join the rest of the league after last year.
Back to the pack.
Yeah, coming back to the back, regression to the mean, whatever you want to call it. But the voice you heard was Eric Nathanson. I'm your host, Chad King. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing all right. I'm looking at the feed. Apparently, I don't see myself on it. It's a black screen. That's kind of funny. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, well, I see you live here, so hopefully.
All right. Well, I'm not too worried about it, so I'll be talking from. I'm the man behind the curtain, everyone. So that'll just be me for the rest of the show. I don't know how that happened. So,
all right.
I'm just realizing that now, but that's hysterical. I'm doing all right. I'm tired of watching the Giants give away games they should win, but I'm also seeing them win games you think they might lose. So they're kind of a 500 team. I mean, so how is it back up there? Is it still as hot as it was last week for everybody?
No, not as bad. Not as bad. It's starting to cool off here. Yeah, I do see that now. You're frozen in my direct feed. So, but at least you're frozen with a smile. So it's not a bad, awkward pose, so that's all right. But we can still hear you, so.
I have new internet stuff set up and everything. This shouldn't be happening on my end.
So, well, it'll just act as your profile picture now. Like, on the phone is Eric Nathanson.
Yeah, right. Calling in from the middle of Arizona, Eric Nathanson.
Yeah. Here, I'll put up the... There you go. Now it says that 2 out hits, so there we go. Welcome, everybody. It's an interesting May that the Giants had. Unfortunately, it was a little disappointing at one game under 500. They were 13-14, and it's their first sub-600 month since the end of 2020. And look, aside from the Dodgers, that's a remarkable stretch, having 7 consecutive months of plus 600, let alone winning months. So, at some point it was going to, fall, and they were only 1 game under. So they're still 27-22, 5.5 back of the Dodgers, 2.5 back of San Diego. But what's more important is with expanded playoffs, the Giants right now are holding on to that final wild card spot, and they're still 3.5 games up ahead of the next competitor, which is the Diamondbacks, ironically enough. I'm not too afraid of the Diamondbacks this year, so... that's why I think Baseball Reference and other sites still have them at a 93.5% chance of making the postseason with those expanded playoffs. And just as a comparison, I just looked up the record that the Giants had last year at this time, and look, I don't think anyone expected them to win 107 games again this year. In fact, most of the totals we got from not only our crew here, me and Eric and Willie, we were 92, 93, 94 wins. Most of our listeners put in kind of in the 90s as well. We even had a few 80s. So I think a lot of people knew there was going to be some of that regression to the mean. They weren't going to overperform and win 107 games. They're actually on pace for 89.2 wins right now, so they're kind of right in that ballpark, which would probably be good enough to make a playoff spot. But last year, they were only 3 games better than they are right now. They were 30-18. So the Giants are 3 games back of the 2021 Giants at this juncture, and they were a game and a half behind the Padres at that time, tied with the Dodgers. And so even with last year's record, I think Eric, you pointed out, they'd still be 2.5 games back of the Dodgers right now, even if they had last year's record at this time. So I don't know what more the Giants can do. I think it's going to be a tough task to beat the Dodgers this year. I think just the way the Dodgers are put together, they're playing even better. And by the way, this is after they got swept by the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates What is going on? I talked to my buddy in the
with
gym
a bunch
today.
of Giants cast-offs too. Like every time I looked up, it was Beatty or Stratton or somebody else in the game that used to be a Giant.
Oh my God! I mean, first of all, thank you, Pittsburgh. I would have expected the Giants to be about 8.5 back right now, but they've struggled. The Giants were outscored by 18 runs in May, so you kind of maybe on the surface you think both hitting and pitching weren't doing very well. It's actually no, it's very split. It's very split. The Giants in April when they went 14-7 scored 4.95 runs per game, so just about 5. For the month of May, they actually scored more runs per game at 5.12. So their hitting was not the issue. It was purely on the shoulders of pitching. I mean, how bad was it, Eric?
Oh, the pitching staff. It was kind of ugly because they had.
I think he cut out there, so I'll go ahead and take over. Yeah, it tanked in May.
Because it wasn't the starters. It was the bullpen. They just collapsed. MLB-worst, 6.626 bullpen ERA in the month of May. It was the worst month that the Giants pitching staff has put up since May of 2019, which was still under Bochy. They hadn't had a month where their ERA was over 5 as a team since that May 2019 month, which is just kind of ridiculous and shows you why they had their first losing month in over almost 2 years.
Yeah. I think maybe the silver lining to those stats are, I think that's going to be the outlier for like a month. You know what I mean? I don't expect their bullpen to post a +6 ERA in June or July.
I mean, there was that one inning that Tyler Rogers gave up 7 runs. That totally skews it.
Same with Carlos. Rodon, right. Same thing. He had an 8 earned run game in 3 innings. Yeah, so we did have a couple of those that definitely inflated the ERA. I mean, that was for the starters. For the total, you're right, Tyler Rogers had 7 runs.
Staff.
Yeah, so, the way I look at it is like, look, it's their worst month in terms of pitching ERA in 3 years. So the chances that it's going to continue at that clip are almost zero. They really are. I mean, I love stats. I'm a statistician. I do a lot of stats at work. I kind of understand the ups and downs of it. So I fully don't expect it. Could they have a +4 ERA in June? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not going to be this bad again. So I think we have to look at it that way and then hope that their offense kind of stays around the same. And then that equation will produce a winning record in June. But again, this team is not destined for 100 wins this year, it looks like, which is fine. They get in the door, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're like I was saying right before the show. So far, they just seem like a 500-ish club, but slightly better than 500, and that's good enough to get in the playoffs now. When you expand it to 6 teams, it almost becomes as many teams that are over 500 are probably going to make it because we've seen teams make the playoffs with 85 wins, 86 wins before. So 89, 90 is not, unrealistic expectation. They just need to improve in like 1-run games. They're 7-8. And against teams with a better than 500 winning percentage, they're 9-14. But they are beating up on the bad teams again. They're 18-8 against teams under 500. So, that's been helping out a lot. That's what's kept them afloat is beating the worst teams and kind of handling it against the better teams, but their pitching hasn't done it just yet. You got to hope it'll turn the corner. But their schedule's been tough lately, and it eases up a little bit for the next month or so. I called it at the beginning of May. May was going to be a tough month. I said this is going to be the toughest month we've seen them face in a long time, and it really shook out that way. And that's part of the schedule's done. They're like 2nd or 3rd in strength of schedule so far, too. So they have faced a really tough schedule. So hopefully it can even out, and, maybe the pitching staff can come back, down to earth a little bit.
I hope so. I hope that Farhan is beating them in a separate room and they don't report on that.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're going to have
with his laugh, his maniacal laugh.
We're going to get somebody other than Tony Watson at this year's trade deadline. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. I'm sure Farhan, I mean, this bullpen, they won 107 games last year. A lot of these guys performed above expectations. A lot of these guys threw more innings than they've ever thrown before. So to see like McGee blow up, to see Rogers blow up a little bit, it's not really shocking. It's been really encouraging. McGee came back his last 2 appearances were really, really good.
Yeah.
Rogers, I'm still just so frustrated with him. Every ball, even when he got Harper, just hit it 40 miles an hour. It scares you because it squibs.
They're honestly talking about positioning players a little differently with Rogers because this is an extended period of what they're basically calling bad luck. Like you said, the metrics, as you pointed out, sorry, my dog's growling now. Basically, he is not any worse than he was last year in terms of the exit velocity and all this stuff like that. He's inducing soft contact and a lot of ground balls and everything like that. And it's really frustrating to see that it's just finding holes. It's just I think the defense also is part of the equation here. They're just not as versatile and not as good as they were last year. The metrics show that. They're one of the worst ranked defensive teams right now. And it showed even last night in Philadelphia, right? I mean, they had that one inning, granted only 1 run scored. Thank you, Mike Yastrzemski, for making that wonderful catch against the center field wall, which saved a bunch of runs. But the guys got on base. They scored a run without hitting the ball out of the infield. Because they just had squibbers and bad mistakes of players throwing home when they shouldn't have, or too late. There was the play, who was playing third? I forgot last night. But he threw home. It was Vossler, yeah. There's a runner at third. There's a ground ball to him. He threw right away home, but it was way too early. And so the runner just was like, oh, thank you. And he just ran back to third. And that was it. It was like, so there was no play, and that could have been...
Had he run at the runner, at least, or
that's what they teach you, right? Like... Yep. If you have that play, you run at the runner and then get it.
Force the runner to commit to one direction or the other, and then you continue the play from there and try to force him back to the earlier base, which is the way he was going anyway.
Yeah, so he ended up scoring. But it's been a weird road trip so far because even though they are above 500 against the sub 500 teams, which the Reds and the Phillies are, they're 3-3 on this road trip. And you can point to things like, oh, I can't believe they lost 2 out of 3 to the worst team in baseball. But at the same time, they take 2 out of 3 in Philly. But even then, Cincinnati could have easily swept that series because they were losing and had a comeback in that third game. And then the Philadelphia series, you had your first 2 wins, were both in extra innings, so that could have gone the other way. And then last night, the Giants were down 2-0. They explode for 5 off of Nola, which was incredible. They strung. That's how you want to score, right? Get all your hits together in big bunches, and that's what they did. They got all 5, without anyone. They got 5 hits in a row. Well, there was a walk in there too. It was 4 hits in a walk. Wilmer caps it off with a 3-run bomb. Suddenly they're up 5-2, and you're like, hell yeah! They're going to sweep the Phillies. This is going to make Cincinnati taste a lot less bitter. And then Harleen Garcia comes in, and he's been great this year. His numbers are microscopic. And
he had a 0 ERA heading in. He hadn't given up a run all year.
I mean, not microscopic. You're right. That's better than microscopic. It's not even there. So, anyone who's going to get on Garcia for his performance last night, how can you? Every pitcher has an ERA, right? No one goes through the season allowing 0 runs. Unfortunately, it was basically a bloop and a blast, a bloop and a blast. It was two 2-run home runs, and they were on lefties too, lefty on lefty, which was unusual. Yeah. So he had a bad night, and they went on to win it 6-5. But yeah, it's one of those series where it's like you're disappointed that they didn't win, 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati and sweep Philly. But at the same time, with 2 extra inning wins and a comeback in Cincinnati, they could have easily been looking at a 1-5 road trip right now. So I think you got to look at both sides of the coin here as they head into Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Eric's having some internet problems, so maybe he'll come back here in a second. But as they head to Miami, I think Miami's they're hot right now. They scored 14 runs in the first game of the doubleheader, and then 12 runs in the second game of the doubleheader. So 26 out of 2 games. Hopefully, they got all the runs out of their system prior to that happening. Here's another interesting split. The opponents against the Giants staff are hitting 281. This is overall. With runners in scoring position, you could go, that's pretty high. Well, the Giants are actually hitting 269, so not that much lower. But the opponent's batting average on balls in play, their BABIP, is 340. Well, that's 60 points higher, essentially, than their runners in scoring position batting average. But the Giants' BABIP is only 279, 10 points higher. So it's really showing you that the Giants have gotten a little bit unlucky with hitting the ball in play with runners in scoring position, and yet their opponents have gotten a little lucky, in a sense, artificially raising their batting average with those balls in play. And a lot of that may have to do with like Tyler Rogers giving up 45-mile-an-hour scribbers for infield hits, things of that nature. So it's a very odd split, and I would hope that, like the Giants, regresses back to the mean, and they squeeze out a few more runs with hitters or with runners in scoring position. Well, and their pitching
feels
staff
like
comes
they
a
get
better.
dinked and dunked more than they dink and dunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It totally has felt that way all season long.
Yeah, that's been one of the real frustrating things. And again, that's why I fully expect the pitching staff to kind of come back to where they should be. Maybe not a 2.9 ERA for the month, but something in the threes. Something reasonable. And if they can continue producing, if you have an offense that produces 5 runs a game on average, that is a fantastic offense. And that's what the Giants have had, a fantastic offense this year. For people on social media complaining about their hitting, they're way off base. Because the ultimate name of the game is not batting average and all that crap. It's literally runs per game. That's the ultimate, right? That's what you want. Like everything feeds into that, on base and hitting
in the National
and everything.
League.
But I mean, it's runs. That's how you win games. You score more than your opponent, so you need to score a lot of runs. And that's the bottom line. They're one of the best teams in runs per game. So offense is operating beautifully right now. I have no issues with the offense.
Third in baseball. Wow, not just the National League. Third in baseball.
Yeah. So I mean, no worries there. And boy, with a ragtag team, last year they had 54 players that they used on the roster. Already this year, it's 46. Here we are, June 2nd, and they've used 46. So, yeah, I think they're going to blow past 54, Eric.
Probably. I mean, this is the world, and this is Farhan's world. Transaction. And, I mean, it's getting frustrating because some of these guys are coming up, and, I mean, Stuart Fairchild, yeah, he's fast. He covers a lot of ground in the outfield, but, get a hit, buddy. Keep your back foot planted for once, buddy. There's a lot of these fringe guys that are coming on and off the roster that he takes flyers on, and when one sticks, like Luis Gonzalez, it's the way it is, like Lamont Wade Jr. last year. So Farhan will keep throwing it at us. Hopefully, though, he can get some better depth. Like, I really thought the Giants had depth this year, but, I mean, some of these lineups lately are just weird and out of whack. I mean, there was an outfield the other night of, what was it? It was Fairchild, Ramos, and Gonzalez with the 3 outfielders for the Giants. Like, who the F expected that to be any day starting outfield? Like, Ramos, first of all, being up was a shock. And then just to have that kind of a not weak, young, inexperienced outfield. You didn't expect that from the Giants this year, and you kind of hope that evens out. So maybe they don't blow past it if they can find the right combination finally. But, injuries happen, and Farhan's going to keep making trades and probably keep making them with the Mariners.
Yeah, the Mariners, the Seattle to San Francisco bus is probably still operating right now.
I don't get it. I mean, it's not like the Mariners is some great organization. Can we trade with somebody who's been in the playoffs every year?
The Dodgers can give us a few of your All-Stars. That'd be great.
Right. They don't mind. Whoever's good on your farm.
It's been weird lineups, like you said, not just outfield that you never would have thought of, that combination. But Kirk Casale hit third for the first time in his entire career against, I think it was Game 2 in Philly. Kirk Casale.
As a DH. Third. He wasn't even catching.
No.
He was the DH. I hated it. That was the lineup I'm talking about. I absolutely hated that lineup. And it was designed, and it was pointed out to me, it was designed to do a shift change mid-game. They had all their righties in the lineup, and their one lefty reliever, Brad Hand, had just pitched 3 out of 4 days. So I get it. Hand wasn't going to pitch. You can bring all your lefties in later. It's just weird. Just a weird lineup. I mean, it was very, very confusing to see.
That said, at least Kirk Casale has been hitting a lot better. So no issues there. And
he makes it easier to have Joey Bard kind of stinking it up right now.
Yeah, I mean, remember Casale last year? His first half was horrendous. He was well under 200, and everybody was like, "What's on? Get rid of this guy." And then his second half was stellar, right? He hit almost 300 in the second half, and he was great, and he ended up the year pretty well. But this year, it is making Joey Bart's presence, I guess, less painful. And God bless the Giants for being so supportive of Joey Bart, and I'm supportive of him too. I figure you got to give this kid, a longer chance. He's going to be with this team for quite some time. They invested a first-round pick in him. They're not going to jettison him off after 100 ABs. I don't have it in front of me, but I know you can look through previous people who had, near Hall of Fame careers, who had a couple All-Star appearances. I mean, they started their careers first 100 at-bats. I'm sure there's a good portion of them that were hitting under 200, right? It's a normal thing for some of these players. Some of them take a little longer to develop. Does that mean that Joey Bart's going to be an all-star in 3 years? No. But I think we need to give him definitely more of a chance. His on-base percentage is good. It's one of the better ones for rookies and certainly among catchers. He definitely has a lot of raw power when he can make contact.
Yeah, he swings through a lot of balls.
That's just the thing, man.
The frustrating thing.
His contact rate is so low. And look, I mean, I played baseball. I love the game. I am not going to sit there and diagnose him like a lot of these armchair quarterbacks online. I laugh every time I'm reading Joey Bart needs to raise his elbow and strike through and do this and do that. And it's like, yeah, okay, shut up. There's something, maybe something else is going on. He's definitely not doing well. Papierski, he came up for Casale, of course, when he was on the concussion protocol. Poor dude didn't get his first major league hit while he was up.
I was going to ask. I didn't think he did. Him and Fairchild both. I mean, Papierski doesn't have one at all in the majors. Fairchild does. He just doesn't have it with the Giants. But poor Paper Mache, man.
Paper Mache, I like that. Yeah, that's a swing. I remember I saw his very first at bat when I went to that game with my son a week and a half ago, and he stood and he watched 3 consecutive pitches, just strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and he just walked back. And my son was like, "He didn't even swing, Dad." And I said, "Yeah, well, that was his first major league at bat. I think he was frozen in terror or something."
Must have been. He guessed wrong on every pitch, which I didn't know was possible.
But yeah, Joey Bart is a guy that we just have to have a little bit more patience with. Casale is filling in the holes admirably, but at this point,
makes it nice. Actually, it does, because it doesn't put the pressure on Bart to start every single day anymore. Now that Casale is hitting the ball, you can kind of platoon them and share the job if you want to, without having to insult Joey Bart, because Casale is coming through, and like you said, he just doesn't put the ball, he doesn't make contact. And I don't get it. I'm so tired of watching him swing through balls right through the zone. That's what it is. That's why he's hitting 170 or whatever it is.
I think he's even lower than that now. The good news is that their combined home runs, if you put all their, if you morph them into one catcher, they have 8 home runs on June 2nd. That's great for a catcher. I mean, they're on pace for 24, 25, 26 home runs in that slot. That's excellent. That's more than excellent for that position. So together they're doing okay. They're serviceable. They got some pop. I just hope that Bart turns it around. They're trying to, like I said earlier, the Giants are being very nice in what they say to the press. Like the other day, oh yeah, it was Joey Bart's decision not to walk. Who was it? I can't remember. And he called Harper. A great game, and he did this and he did that, and he drew this walk, and it's kind of like it's starting to feel like when your kid comes home and he had that 0 for 4, and you're like, it's all right, buddy. You made that play at second base and almost got him out.
You kept the ball in the infield that one time so that one runner didn't score, even though he got knocked in on the next play. But you still prevented him from scoring.
You're looking for those little nuggets that you're really having difficulty finding. And that's what I feel the Giants are saying.
It does seem to an extent to be true that Bart is well liked by the pitching staff and seems to do a good job. So, I don't know how much of that really is. Casale seems to be fine behind the plate too. He had that great back-to-back inning where he threw out the runner on Monday and then went and hit the home run in extra innings. It was just one of those stud moments, like a Buster Posey would have done once upon a time.
Yeah.
I think just that sheer act, that's what got him the DH batting third role on Tuesday, which I don't ever want to.
Oh, Eric cut out again. One thing I was going to point out was their numbers right now. Let me go back to Kurt Casale. One thing I was going to. I'm hearing a little feedback from. Oh, there you are.
That was me watching us on my phone to see if I came back.
Got it. Yeah, you're having some.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, you have a new internet thing set up. I get it. It's going to happen. Yeah. So Kirk Casale right now, he's got 68 at bats. He's hitting 250 with 4 bombs and 12 RBI. Joey Bart, he's got 85 at bats, so 17 more. Also with 4 home runs, only 7 RBIs, and of course only hitting a $153. So he's got 13 hits on the year. Casale has more. He has 17, even though he has less at bats, of course. So combined, they're probably hitting right around 200 exactly.
Casale hit like 350, 360 something in May, so he had a hell of a month.
He did. He had a hell of a month, and Bart definitely started out the year taking 60 to 70% of the starts, if not more. He was starting 3 or 4 games out of 5 or 6. You're starting to see that balance shift a little bit. And do you think that's going to continue? I mean, at some point, I think Kapler doesn't want to destroy his confidence, but might just, really have to continue to give Casale more starts.
That's the key is what's the best for the team, not necessarily Joey Bart's growth and potential, because this is the majors, this ain't the minors. Your growth and potential happens in other places. So I think they'll stay in a share right now. I really do. And I think they'll try to ride the hot hand. The question is, can Bart ever become the hot hand?
Yeah. And
who knows? Maybe there is a catcher out there at the trade deadline they want to go for. Maybe they want to avail themselves of Joey Bart at that time. I'm not sure. Because he does fit the mold with his walk percentage and things like that. He fits Farhan's mold, but the fact that he doesn't put the ball in play is really what's killing them. And I don't know when they try to give up on him. I'm not saying to give up, but I just don't know when Farhan gives up. So I think it's at this point. I think it's a share. I think Gabe takes it as a share basis, and he'll decide game by game. Like, nobody is going to need rest because they'll be alternating enough, if that makes sense. There won't be a guy who does 4 games straight and then the other guy takes over for 1 game. I don't see that happening right now.
Yeah, despite Casale having those 17 fewer at-bats, he has 19 strikeouts. Joey Bart, 46. Ouch. I mean, my Lord. That is absolutely incredible. 46 out of 85 at-bats. I mean, he's more than 50% of his at-bats. Not plate appearances, but at-bats. And,
I'll bet you Joe DiMaggio never even struck out that many times in a season.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn used to strike out 20 times in a season. Like, that dude just, never struck out. Joey Bart's OPS is 600, and Casale's is 772. So Casale definitely got the better numbers and the better contact ratio right now, and so
it's true. DiMaggio's high was 39.
So Bart's already struck out more times than DiMaggio ever did in a full season his entire career.
Right,
it's incredible. Amazing. I will say, I think if Joe DiMaggio played today, he would have a few more strikeouts.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, for all the old timers that say, well, my God, Joe DiMaggio could easily hit 380 again. And no, I don't think so. I don't think so. They're so specialized now and throwing so much harder with so much more movement, and the scouting reports and the conditioning and yada, yada, yada. I mean, you got guys going in with a specific plan. Defenses is, placed perfectly for the strengths and weaknesses of the hitter. It's just a different game, and we see it with the plummeting batting averages this year. It's just the way the game's heading. So, yeah, Tony Gwynn would still be hitting over 300 for sure, but I don't think Ted Williams would hit his 400 year. He wouldn't hit 400 this year. No. Yeah. Joe DiMaggio would strike out more than 30-something times. He'd probably strike out 60-something times, which is still great. But, yeah, it's just a different era.
I mean, the pitchers that they faced, they had to look like meat compared to what we're seeing nowadays. Yeah,
I think if you put some of today's sluggers back then, it would be just a completely.
Oh my God, they destroy them.
I think so. I don't think the differences are as great as, let's say, NFL linebackers and linemen from the 50s.
Right.
You look at those
completely different body types.
Totally different. Like, today's NFL teams would literally slaughter the best NFL team from 1950, whatever. Like, it wouldn't even
They would
be
just
close.
murder them. They would
It
kill them.
like literally murder them. Yeah, it'd be like 120-3. I mean, it wouldn't even be
Those
close.
guys would not have ever been as hit hard as they would be hit in a game like that.
No, that is definitely different. So baseball isn't probably that much of a difference, but it certainly would be quite different. Yeah, so, hey, look, May wrapped up. June's a new month. Unfortunately, they start June. They're 0-1 right now. They head back into Miami, who's hot with the bat. They scored 26 runs in 2 games versus Colorado, but split the doubleheader, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully the Marlins are got all their runs out of their system for the Giants when they face them tonight. But before we get to some individual accomplishments, we have not brought up the slap. And that was just weird. It was caught on like loose video. You couldn't really see too much, but there was a commotion out in left field before the game in Cincinnati. And long story short, Tommy Pham and Joc Pederson are in the same fantasy league. And Tommy Pham was really upset from something that happened 6 months ago. I
At least. Might even be more.
still don't understand carrying a beef about fantasy football that long. He was upset, and I may get some of the details wrong, that Joc Pederson illegally stashed Jeff Wilson Jr. on his injured reserve and then drafted someone else. Whatever. So Tommy Pham thinks that went against the football rules. Joc Pederson, no, it doesn't. Tommy literally just slapped him, and I saw some video of it. And it was a nice cold cock slap. Joc didn't retaliate, didn't do anything. A bunch of players came out there. And long story short, Joc was calm, cool, and collected about it, but fully divulged all the information that he had, including his phone, showing receipts, showing rules, showing the transaction, and just basically like, hey, man, this is what it's within the rules. And then Tommy Pham got all upset. He was suspended 3 games by Major League Baseball, and then threw Mike Trout under the bus, which was freaking hilarious. I was like, what are you doing, dude? Apparently Mike Trout.
I don't get it.
Yeah, apparently Mike Trout is the commissioner, and shoot, I had the quote up here, and I think I accidentally closed it. But here it is. Okay. So, yeah, a group of Major League Baseball players have a big fantasy football problem, which now involves one of baseball's most recognizable stars, Tommy Pham of the Reds, and Giants outfielder Joc Pederson are feuding over their fantasy football league so seriously that Pham recently slapped Pederson during batting practice. He now claims the circumstances surrounding the incident go all the way up to one of the biggest stars in all of baseball, Mike Trout. He spoke about length about his side of the slap saga. He claimed the commissioner of the fantasy football league in question, Mike Trout, could have put a stop to the dispute that led to the slap had he enforced the league's rules. Quote, Trout did a terrible job, man. Pham continued by saying the following: Trout's the worst commissioner in fantasy sports because he allowed a lot of shit to go on and he could have solved it all. Nobody wanted to be commissioner. I didn't want to be the effing commissioner. I got other shit to do. He didn't want to do it. We put it on him. It was kind of our fault, too, because we made him commissioner.
Oh, my God.
That's his direct quote. And apparently they had a $10,000 buy-in. And then Pham also said that, quote, I looked at it as he was effing with my money along with the disrespect, end quote. Pham said
but
of
he
Pederson.
quit the league in the middle of it. So your money's already effed with at that point, Tommy. Your money's gone if you quit the league in the middle. He also said he was some high roller in Vegas and yada. If you're a high roller in Vegas, you don't go around bragging that you're a high roller in Vegas. It's just not how it is. Tommy Pham is a lunatic. That's the bottom line in this story. Tommy Pham is the guy got stabbed at a strip joint in San Diego a couple
Yes, he
years
did.
ago.
Yes, he did.
And I'm not necessarily speaking from experience, but I'm just saying you have to be a real big jerk to get stabbed at a strip joint. Like, it's really, really got to be something to happen to get to a point where you're getting stabbed. And I remember seeing it was like multiple times too. Like, he's just a lunatic. Tommy Pham is just he's a crazy SOB. And I mean, poor Joc Pederson is just. I love how Joc just stood there and calmly with the receipts. He's like, okay, and the GIF.
Yes.
Apparently,
oh my God, the GIF is
Joc
fantastic.
sent a GIF into the group chat with 3 bodybuilders, and they were the Giants logo, the Dodgers logo, the Padres logo, and the 2 Giants and Dodgers logos could handle it, but the Padres logo was, getting crushed under the weights, and apparently Tommy Pham didn't think that was funny. And He was just like, we're just clowning around, man. Sorry. And I think that's part of what Pham held on to. I mean, can you imagine like 8 months holding on to it to a slap that long?
Yeah, I was looking for the GIF. I've seen it, but I only have a screenshot.
Oh my God, what a lunatic. I mean, come on. If you can't handle that, a GIF in a group chat, and you're going to walk out of a group and just forfeit $10,000. I mean, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, here we go. I got it. Let me get it here.
Craw's in that league. It seems to be a bunch of Giants and Padres, and I guess Dodgers.
Oh, I didn't realize that. All right, here it is. So for those of you listening to the audio version, I brought up the tweet where the GIF is. And so, yeah, there's 2 men and a woman standing in a line with these like heavy sandbags that you kind of do kettlebell swings with. You swing them up and down. So you have a Giants logo, a Dodgers logo, and the Padres logo. And I'm going to go hit play now.
Now I get it. This is my first time seeing it.
Nope. It launched that. My apologies. I got to redo this here. All right, add to screen. It's pretty funny. Share screen. It launched Twitter, so now I have to get it back up. It's looping right now.
Totally get it.
All right, so here we go. They're swinging the bags. They launch them in the air. Boom! The one that falls on the Padres woman. Basically, the straps of the bag go around her head, take her by the neck, and drag her to the ground, while the other 2 flipped it over their backs successfully. So this is
guy's reaction.
I know, he's like, "Oh crap!
Oh my God, his face! It's like a cartoon character."
That woman though looked like a broken
poor
neck.
lady. That's funny though. Okay, that's totally funny because the Padres did totally biff it last year. I mean, why can't
they
Tommy
literally
Pham
choked
own
again?
That?
Yeah, they choked again. That's what the Padres do every year. So this is in reference to the Padres fading again in the NL West last year, not even making the playoffs. So, oh, just fantastic. I'll put those in the episode because that was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I had not seen that until right now. That's beautiful.
Oh my God. So anyway, Mike Trout was interviewed. He declined to comment if Pederson did or didn't violate the rules, but he said, "quote Every commissioner I know gets booed." Unquote.
Man, this is
so funny stuff.
I don't
man.
know what's going on.
Bunch of grown men, bunch of millionaires getting all crazy about it. Oh my God. Yeah, we can hear you. By the way, Eric. Just FYI. All right, so. The slap is over. Tommy Pham got a 3-game suspension, so we'll see him next time they come to San Francisco. All right, let's talk about best Giants so far. I just put a short list together. We're almost a third of the way through the season, 49 games. We're getting up there. Joc Pederson, of course, just doing a fantastic job, leading the team in home runs with 12. He's also leading the team in RBI, and he's hitting .351 with runners in scoring position. Luis Gonzalez. He's not only hitting .337 overall as a rookie, but he's 10 for 35. That's a .435 batting average with runners in scoring position. He's second on the team in RBIs, and he's in the Rookie of the Year conversation. It's quite weird to see like MLB and ESPN do these pieces where they put up a graphic when they show like a group of 5 guys or whatever, and Luis Gonzalez is like one of the dudes in that picture, and it's like he's getting some national recognition at the rate he's playing. So. He was already sent down, optioned, and then came back up. I don't know if they're going to do that again because, like you were saying earlier, Farhan finds these diamonds in the rough, and then they stick. You had your Yaz, you have your Lamont Wades. So this is another one here. So I think Gonzo, well, that's not his official nickname. I'm getting it from the other Gonzalez.
I mean, you know.
I just sometimes do that, right?
He's played he had at bats last year, I think, and the year before, which is just weird how the rules aren't with baseball that he's still rookie status this year.
So is Joey Bart because he did not have enough at bats last year. So both Joey Bart and Luis Gonzalez are considered rookies, except, we're not going to have Rookie of the Year for Joey Bart this year unless he hits 400 the rest of the year. And then I put in Carlos Rodon only because, overall his numbers aren't as impressive right now. They're good. But he had that one horrific start where he gave up 8 earned runs and 3 2/3. If you remove that from his 9 or 10 starts, he has a 2.43 ERA, which is fantastic. So overall, he's been doing well. I do have one concern. He did end up having 6 strikeouts yesterday in Philly. He kind of backloaded the game with more strikeouts. But overall, his strikeout rates over the last few starts have been way, way, way down. And he's still pumping in fastballs at 96 to 97. But I'm really curious to look at the spin rate and some of those other metrics on his slider, because he just doesn't seem to be missing the same number of bats that he used to. And they've been talking about it on the broadcast as well. Like Dave Fleming has been like, he just doesn't seem to be missing bats as much as he used to.
Yeah, it seems like the fastball was the miss the bat pitch. I think the slider was kind of trying to be the put away. He's still striking out 11.5 per 9. Which is the best, obviously, for any of the starters. But if you only last 5 innings every time out, you're only getting, like you said, 6 strikeouts, and you're not getting the put away as much. But he has consistently been their best fireballer and strikeout pitcher. So hopefully it's just a little blip the last few starts as far as the strikeouts are concerned, and he can get that control back. If my computer wasn't being all fussy, I would have already been going to look up those slider statistics. But apparently, I'm not touching Baseball Savant right now.
Yeah, it's all on Baseball Savant.
I'm not opening those pages. Right, I love those pages too. Those are my favorite. I get lost in seeing how a pitcher attacks a guy ahead in the count, behind in the count. It's so great for that kind of research.
Oh, it's so much fun. I do. I lose myself for a couple hours in those pages sometimes. So
I saw it the other day.
Sometimes live too. Yeah.
Yeah, you were putting out the hardest hit balls and stuff. I do that too. If I'm doing a recap for Giants Chatter, I'll have the Savant live feed open and see, in real time. Oh, that was 105 mile an hour off the bat.
Yeah, you can see kind of one of my favorites is, a guy scorches a ball for an out, and you look at the exit velocity and the expected batting average. And, it's like, oh, the dude got out, but it was an expected 750 batting average. Right? Like, so that was really unlucky. And then you see another guy hits the ball at 62 miles an hour with an expected batting average of like 100, and he gets a base hit. And you're like, you got lucky. It's just fun.
Longo the other day when he did that whole homer after making a play type thing that Casale did, Longo robbed a play that had a 910 expected batting average on it.
I did. I saw that. That was Stevenson. I think it was Stevenson. He had the most unlucky hit of the day. Yeah, yep. That was it's like 9 times out of 10 that's a hit.
Right. That's just ridiculous to think.
That's crazy. So, anyway, those are some of them I came up with for the season so far. I know there's probably a couple others maybe you want to mention. If not.
Not off the top of my head. Wilmer Flores, I guess, he has had a bit of a struggle necessarily just putting the ball batting average wise, but he seems to be coming through consistently with some pretty clutch hits. He's second on the team with 42 hits. I know his batting average is only 255, but those 6 homers, they've been timely. Yesterday's homer was timely. The other day was timely. Like just about every one of his homers I can think of tied a game or got them within a run or something like that or took the lead. So Wilmer, I think, would get the other tip of the cap at this point. And Yaz is heating up. Don't sleep on Yaz. That guy is entering the conversation. He's been top 10 in OPS over the top 20 in OPS over the course of the season so far, and he's starting to sneak up those charts as somebody. He just doesn't have the power yet.
Yeah, no, the power hopefully will come a little bit later. All right,
they said it yesterday. Yeah, I was going to say they said yesterday, Yaz has been concentrating on having good at-bats, whereas last year he was concentrating on hitting the ball out of the park. So that's the difference this year, and maybe why he's not hitting the ball as far.
Yeah, we'll take base hits right now, to be honest.
Any day. Any day. Give us runners.
All right, let's talk about injuries. Austin Slater, I haven't seen anything come across the wire this morning, but they say that he could be back as early as today, but hopefully this week. I don't know if you've heard anything about him.
No, not on him.
Yeah, they make their transactions late in the day anyway. It's always like right before game time. But I haven't seen any tweets like Slater's in Miami, or anything like that. Lamont Wade with his knee could be back by next week, June 7th. Longo's day-to-day with a shoulder, probable for today. Belt could be and might be back by tomorrow with his knee issue, and boy, we really need him back. Again, the offense is doing okay, but if he's in there, they're even better.
Well, it's not even the offense. You talk about defense.
Yeah.
The play Wilmer biffed yesterday. There's a play that Belt would not have screwed up and thrown the ball into left field. That's a lot of where their fielding and their pitching is going down is the fact that they haven't had a strong defense either. So it would be so nice to have Belt back as that anchor on that side of the diamond.
Yeah, Wilmer doesn't do too bad in the actual fielding part of his transition. it's the throwing, right? Whether he's at third or he's at first, and he did that. They had the runner picked off. Runner did the right thing and just continued to run to second. Wilmer turns around, fires to second, and just airmails it into left field. Yeah. And he ends up going to third on the play. And it's like, oh, my God, you guys had it now. Now he's at third. Thanks, Wilmer. You're right. That's a play that Belt makes, and it changes the whole complexion of the inning. I mean, Rodon had 100 pitches basically after 5 innings. And a lot of it was because of these defensive lapses, which prolonged innings. And it was really frustrating. It probably ended up making a difference in the game. Even though the Giants did go up by 3, they just would have, they wouldn't have had 1 or 2 of those runs coming into that. So,
right, exactly. They wouldn't have given up those homers. I mean, that's part of I think that's part of what's made them a closer to 500 team this year. We can probably look at their fielding. Even in the game, Tyler Rogers got his ass kicked. Yeah, their fielding wasn't good that day, and it's not just spun baseballs. It's just getting ground balls. It goes to the old saying, put the ball in play, things happen. And the Giants defense has proved it this year. Things can happen.
Yeah, and it's things like the play of Vossler threw home, and then they threw back to third. Right. That's not an error. It goes as a fielder's choice and no put out recorded. And so it doesn't go against the defense, but it goes against the pitcher for allowing that base runner to reach base, which is really unfortunate. It's one of those weird scoring decisions in baseball that it's equal for everyone, so it all evens out. But it's just very odd to me. It's kind of like, can't you give him a mental error?
It's not his fault that guy's not out. He did his job.
He did his job. He induced a ground ball right to the third baseman. But he did 2. The fielder chose to go home and did not get him out, but it was no error. It's like, well, it kind of was an error, but yeah, right. Especially in the ballpark. Let's see, Disco with his ankle still not slated to be back until June, and the same with Steven Duggar, probably late June. And again, those are guys that would really, really solidify the rotation a little bit more. Although Junis, of course, has been fantastic as his replacement. So that hasn't been too much of an issue. And then Duggar just with his defense and his versatility.
It's not bad.
Okay, and then transactions this week is not as crazy as it usually is from week to week.
I don't have an Ethernet hole.
But we have Jake McGee.
Computer.
Yeah, Eric, we can hear you too, just to let you know.
I'm back.
In case you're going to curse like a sailor or something. So
I would. I mean, I was just saying, I got this whole new internet set up, and my computer doesn't take an Ethernet cable, so I can't even just hardwire into the new router to, you know what I mean? So it's a little frustrating. Like, that might be the fix, but I mean, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to play with speeds and stuff like that.
Can you get one of those like USB or USB-C dongles or something like that to Ethernet dongle.
Right. And I'm already using a dongle for like 8 other things, and I'm like, am I putting so much pressure on it? It's just Plus, I love the word dongle. I mean, it sounds dirty, and it's not. So.
Well, make sure the hamster is well fed, the internet hamster.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what's going on with him. He's having a rough day.
Yeah.
It's hotter today. I guess I understand. So.
All right. As far as transactions since our last recording, Jake McGee, of course, came off the IL, had a slight short minors rehab assignment, was called up. Papierski was sent back down to the minors without his first major league hit, sadly for him. And I don't know if we're going to see him again. He'll probably be DFA'd here in the next couple of weeks. Poor dude. Yep. Kurt Casale, of course, was removed from the concussion list and called up. Darren Ruff has been on the bereavement family emergency medical list. I did not read what's going on. Is that like a private matter? Did they disclose what's going on? Oh, crap.
His dad died.
I did not hear
unexpected.
that.
Yeah, it was unexpected.
My God.
And so chances are Ruff will be gone for the whole road trip.
Oh, that's rough. I did not mean to say that. I just did not mean to do that. That was not intended.
My gosh. It's tough if it's sudden. And it wasn't. And so, it made me curious, just, was he dealing with a dad's sickness and that's why he's been having a tough year? But apparently no, he's just been having a tough year and then dad suddenly passed. And, so he's going to be away for a while, and
poor guy.
No idea how he's going to come back. Players sometimes come back on a tear after this. They do it for dad, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to minimize anything. I lost my dad suddenly, so I totally get it. So you just kind of wonder what's going to happen with Ruff this year. And as a human, you just hope he feels okay.
Oh my God, that's hard to go through. Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate my father's still alive at what is he, 70? I'm doing the math. I always forget.
One.
He's 75. He's 75 right now, and my mom's 73. So, and they're both in pretty good health. But yeah, I mean, when you get older, things can happen very quickly. Very quickly,
Yep.
So, man, well, okay, prayers go out to Darren Ruff. That did not hear who he lost. Heliot Ramos came up and then was quickly sent back down. He was up for like one game.
Almost got his first home run. He hit one pretty deep that might have gotten out of another couple places, but it didn't get out. Poor guy.
Yeah.
And then he immediately got sent back down.
Yep, just up for one game. Stuart Fairchild was also sent back down. Sammy Long was on the taxi squad and then called up. They needed some long relief from him. Vossler, who got into the game, was also called up. And then, of course, like I just said, Ramos was sent down yesterday. So not 20 transactions this week, but quite a few for the.
Yeah, that was very minimal compared to like April.
Yeah. So I highlighted good players for the year so far, but another one I wanted to say for Player of the Week was Evan Longoria. He hit 3 home runs this week, but kind of right before that, he had that 2 home run game. But he hit at one point in one stretch, it was 5 home runs in 5 games. I mean, that's fantastic. Nothing wrong with that. So, and despite his minimal playing time, he's third on the team in home runs now? Because I think Wilmer just passed him with 6, hitting that one
Wilmer's
yesterday.
Got 6 now. So.
Yeah. So, and then of course Joc is sitting there at 12. It's like, oh, okay.
Home run derby, and he didn't even get Joc. Just to touch on him, he didn't even get Player of the Week last week. Freaking Francisco Lindor did of the Mets, and part of that is because he hit well against the Giants.
Yeah, no, that Lindor was hot. The Giants couldn't freaking get him out, so that was
not at all.
That was frustrating. Yeah, and so what? Joc's got 29 RBIs right now. Actually, I said he was leading the team, but after Wilmer hit that 3-run home run, Wilmer overtook the lead in RBI. He's got 30. He's leading the team with 30 RBI. Okay, so I made that mistake there. I thought he was in the 20s still. And then you mentioned Wilmer right there with his clutch home runs, and now 30 RBI leads the team in that department.
And just looking at it, like, who's been more clutch than Wilmer this year? Really, I mean, I know Joc's had his moments, but Wilmer's kind of always come up with the big hit. It hasn't always been a homer. Sometimes it's been a double. It's really consistent. He's like the old KG veteran now. I kind of love it.
Yeah. All right, well, as we wrap up episode 254, we're still going to continue our old segment, Why Are We Going to Win It All? I'm going to go ahead and lead off, and look, they had a bad May, so I'm leaning heavily as I disappear off screen. Expanded playoffs. They'll get that last slot.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very pragmatic, I know. Nothing serendipitous, but I don't know. Do you have any ideas?
I'll be as bold as you, and I'll say because the Padres are going to collapse and the Giants will just be there anyways.
They'll just be there.
It's kind of the same thing, but not really.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, well, coming up, the Giants conclude this 10-game road trip with 4 in Miami, and then come home for 3 versus the Rockies, and then 3 versus the Dodgers. As far as our recording schedule, things are going to get a little wonky because I'm the one that's typically recording here in my home, and I'm going to be out of town quite a bit for vacation and work stuff over the next, really starting in about a week and a half for about a month. So it's going to be all over the place. Hopefully we can record almost for certain next week at some point. Might be another Wednesday or Thursday or Friday episode, depending on everyone's availability. But it won't be the following Monday, and we'll probably go at least a week and a half to 2 weeks until our next one. But it's got to be like that. I got to travel with my family. I got work to do. Things happen.
How dare you?
I know. How dare I with our fans? But no, the engagement's been great. The download numbers have been good. People have definitely been enjoying our podcast. So I'm really glad and really motivated to put this out every week that we can do it. So we'll just have a couple of weeks where we're going to have some stretches there, but we also have Giants Chatter there that Eric is an administrator for.
Well, I was going to first give a tip of the cap to our English listeners and all of our foreign listeners in general. We really appreciate you tuning in. And if you don't know baseball as well as, and you're trying to learn the game, we appreciate you listening to us and taking that path because we are very big Giants fans. And we do like to talk about more than just the stats and the numbers and the why. You know, we will talk about other things. So a little tip of the cap, too, to our British listeners seem to be getting into it. And I hope that maybe we'll come up with a British correspondent here at some point or something like that and get one of these guys in the mix because I really appreciate what they've been doing for us lately. So a little tip of the cap. I don't know, tip of the cup of tea or something. That's the British.
Oh my goodness!
More thought into this. I could have put more thought into this, but you guys know what I'm saying. We appreciate you. And yes, Giants Chatter on Facebook as always. Coffee in the Cove this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, Coffee in the Cove. They won't have that early game as much as you did last week. Yeah, Mike,
but it's still early. It's like 11.
Yeah, Mike Dowling. I see that there. If we have any info about the London series next year. I still haven't heard who it's going to be. I do know that Major League Baseball will be playing regular season games in London in 2023, 24, and 26. And so the league also agreed to hold, quote, major events in the UK capital over the next 5 years. And that's kind of all that's been said about that. And you know what? Like you just brought up like a London correspondent or whatever. I highly doubt that I'm going to be traveling to London to cover a Giants game when I can cover them.
You got to get somebody
here.
on who goes. I totally
So
with you.
it would be pretty cool if someone could go and attend that and kind of report back, take some video and kind of report on the experience out there. That'd be pretty cool. I had forgotten that the Yankees and the Red Sox actually played each other in London during the regular season in 2019. I like completely blocked that out of my mind, but I'm looking at a picture of it right here and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. So
Don't the Cubs? Oh, the Cubs Cardinals one was canceled because of COVID. I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
because I remember they were supposed to have one.
Yeah, no, pretty cool. So it's going to be hosted at London Stadium. And those, I don't know why they're skipping 2025. It's kind of weird when they say 23, 24, and 26. It's like, huh? Oh, Mike, you went to that game? Oh, that's pretty cool, man. That would have been fun to see Major League Baseball game in London. That's great.
It was runs after runs after runs too. It was the
Yeah, because I think they had one of the fields was really, really short because of the configuration for where they were playing. I can't remember where, but pretty cool. All right, so hopefully we'll be back for next week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. We'll keep you informed on Twitter. Until then, you can follow us collectively at TortureCast, at ChadK21 individually for myself, at 2 Out Hits with the number 2 for Eric, at Willie Dills, who couldn't quite make it today. Hopefully he'll be here next week. You can email us at torturecast@gmail.com. Of course, you can find our podcast wherever you find your podcast, but we embed this video on our Facebook page and our website at torturecast.com. So give us a like, follow us on Twitter at TortureCast, and hey man, engage with us. Send in ideas. You know, we put questions out sometimes. Ask us questions. We love to go down the rabbit hole of statistics and answer these things. So feel free to go ahead and email or tweet at us anytime. So for Willie and for Eric, this is Chad signing off for episode 254, and we'll see you next week for 255.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.